All right, today we're going to tackle something really fascinating, a case study in what happens when a solution backfires. We're talking about a brand new, super high-stakes policy for H-1B visas, and we're going to look at it through this really cool lens called systems thinking. Basically, we'll see how one seemingly simple decision can set off this huge chain reaction of problems. You ready? Let's dive in.
So, this is the big question we're asking today. Can a policy, one that's designed to fix something, actually fly right back and hit you, like a boomerang? We're going to look at this new, really hefty, I'm talking $100,000 fee on H-1B visas, and ask, is this simple fix actually a boomerang in disguise? Now, to really get our heads around that question, we need a special tool. It's called systems thinking. And look, it's not about looking at one little piece of the puzzle. It's about seeing the whole thing, the entire web of connections. We're talking about how things like education, business, innovation, the job market, they're all tangled up together. And this is the key, right? It lets you spot those unexpected consequences before they blow up in your face.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of the policy itself. Picture this, September 19th, 2025, a new rule drops, and it's a big one, a massive $100,000 fee for every H-1B visa application. Now, the official reason? Well, it's to stop the program from being abused, to keep companies from paying lowball wages, and of course, to protect American jobs. On the surface, it sounds like a pretty direct shot at a clear target, right?
And the logic behind it, well, it seems super straightforward. It's almost like a simple math problem. You start with higher costs. That should mean fewer companies apply for these visas. In theory, that opens up more jobs for American workers, which then pushes their wages up, and boom, the labor market is balanced. It's all very clean, a nice, neat little chain of events.
But, and this is a big but, here's where the story takes a turn. Because as anyone who uses systems thinking knows, the real world is, well, it's messy. The economy isn't some simple machine where you can just pull a lever and get a predictable result. Nope. It's a complex, living, breathing ecosystem, and that is exactly where this simple, neat little plan starts to completely fall apart.
So, okay, let's follow the first ripples. Imagine you just dropped a huge rock into a calm pond. That's this policy. And the very first waves, they're going to hit the businesses and the job market. And spoiler alert, how they react is not at all what that simple A to B logic would have you believe.
Here's the thing you have to remember. Businesses are smart, and they adapt. So instead of just hiring more U.S. workers, what do? Well, maybe they just move entire departments overseas to places where the rules are easier. Or even simpler, they hire top talent to work remotely from their home countries, no visa required. Some might just say, you know what, this is the perfect time to speed up replacing humans with AI. And here's a really big one. This fee could absolutely cripple startups. The very companies that are supposed to be creating new jobs, but don't have $100,000 to spare for every new hire. Every single one of these moves completely sidesteps the whole point of the policy.
But believe me, the ripples don't just stop there. Oh no, they keep spreading out, and they start to hit two absolute pillars of the American economy, our world-class universities and our incredible engine of innovation. And both of these are deeply, deeply connected to the global talent pool.
Let's just start with the money side of things in education. International students, get this, they pump an estimated $45 billion into the U.S. economy every single year. Now, imagine you're one of the brightest students in the world, and suddenly the path from getting a U.S. degree to getting a U.S. job has a giant $100,000 wall in front of it. What are you going to do? You're probably just going to choose to study somewhere else. It's that simple.
And you can see exactly where that hit is going to land the hardest. I'm talking about our most critical graduate programs. They rely so heavily on international students. We're talking more than a third of them in engineering and almost a third in computer sciences. And these aren't just students filling seats. They're the next wave of brilliant researchers and innovators. So you have to ask yourself, what happens to American research and development when that entire talent pipeline just dries up?
And that pipeline of students? Well, it very often turns into a pipeline of entrepreneurs. I mean, think about this. An absolutely incredible 44% of Fortune 500 companies were founded by immigrants or their children. So when we make it this hard for the best and brightest to stay and work here, we're basically risking cutting off the supply of the very people who build the next Google, the next Tesla, the major companies of tomorrow. And it's not just about business. The impact goes right to the tippy top of scientific achievement. Check this out. This is from the National Foundation for American Policy, and it's just staggering. Immigrants have been absolutely central to America's scientific dominance. So restricting access to this kind of talent, it isn't just about corporate profits. It literally threatens our leadership in the fields that are going to define the entire future.
Okay, so all of this brings us to what might be the most dangerous thing you find in systems thinking. It's called a reinforcing loop. And this is where a bad thing doesn't just happen once. No, it starts to feed on itself. It gets worse and worse and worse in this terrifying downward spiral. Think of it like a tiny snowball rolling down a hill that turns into a full-blown avalanche.
So here's exactly how one of those spirals could play out. Just follow me here. Step 1, you have less access to top talent. Okay, what happens next? Well, that weakens your research and development, which then slows down innovation. Slower innovation means weaker economic growth, which means less money for universities and for training programs. And what does that lead to? An even bigger talent shortage, which brings us right back to the start of the spiral. Only now, everything is worse.
And you know what's scary? It's not just that one spiral. You could see the exact same thing happen to our education system, to our ability to compete on the world stage, even to our social fabric. The thing about these cycles is, once they get going, they are incredibly hard to stop, because each problem just makes the other problems worse.
So, what's the answer? What do we do? Well, the first step is to kind of look up and see what's happening beyond our own borders. We have to recognize that this is a global race for talent. And once we get that, then we can start exploring smarter, more nuanced solutions, the kind that work with the system instead of trying to fight against it.
And when you do look around, the contrast is, well, it's stark. While the US is putting up this huge financial wall, our biggest competitors, they're literally rolling out the red carpet. I'm talking Canada, Australia, the UK. They are all creating policies specifically designed to attract the exact same talent we might be pushing away. This isn't just a brain drain, folks. It's like a reverse brain drain, where we're actively making our competitors stronger at our own expense.
So what would a smarter, systems-aware policy actually look like? Well, here's an idea. Instead of using a one-size-fits-all sledgehammer, how about a graduated fee? So, maybe a lower fee for someone with a PhD in a field we really need. A much higher fee if a company is actually displacing an American worker. You could even give a fee reduction to companies that are investing a ton in training U.S. workers. See? It's like using a scalpel instead of a sledgehammer. It's surgical, not just destructive.
Ultimately, that's what smarter policymaking really boils down to. It's about remembering these core principles. It's never about finding one simple magic bullet fix. It's about mapping out the entire system, trying to anticipate those dangerous feedback loops we talked about, and really understanding that a decision over here is going to have an impact way over there. It's really just about doing the hard work of thinking things through.
And that brings us right back to where we started, back to that boomerang. Because when you ignore that complex web of connections, when you pretend the system isn't all tangled together, your brilliant solution can actually become the problem. The boomerang always comes back.
So I'll leave you with this one last thought. This whole thing, it's not really just about one visa policy, is it? It's a way of thinking. So the next time you hear someone propose a really simple, easy-sounding solution to a huge, complicated problem, I want you to ask yourself this question. What are the hidden connections here? What are the ripples that maybe we're ignoring? Thanks so much for joining me on this one.